Yo, what's up everybody, it's Wheels Tune. If you're watching this, chances are your BMW isn't running as smooth as it should be. We're talking rough idle, maybe some stalling, maybe even a check engine light staring you down. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common reasons your BMW might be acting up and more importantly, how to fix them yourself. We're gonna save you some serious cash and get that Bimmer running back to its old self. Let's break down the most common causes and show you how to fix them. First things first, let's check the spark plugs. These little guys ignite the fuel in your engine, and when they're worn out, it can cause rough idling. Make sure you've got the right spark plugs for your BMW's engine. Carefully remove the spark plug wires one at a time and use a spark plug socket to loosen and remove the old spark plugs. Are they covered in gunk? If so, that's a good sign they needed replacing. Okay, so you've replaced the spark plugs and your BMW is still doing the rough idle dance. Time to move on to the ignition coils. These bad boys provide the spark to your spark plugs. A failing ignition coil can cause misfires, especially when you step on the gas. Disconnect the electrical connector and remove the bolt holding the coil in place. Installation is the reverse of removal, just make sure you don't over-tighten the bolt. Alright, we've tackled the spark plugs and ignition coils, but your BMW is still acting up. Let's move on to the fuel injectors. These guys spray fuel into your engine cylinders and can get clogged over time. Cleaning them is cheaper and there are plenty of good fuel injector cleaner additives you can pick up at the auto parts store. If you're feeling ambitious, you can try cleaning the injectors yourself with a special cleaning kit. Next up is the mass airflow sensor, or MAF sensor for short. This little guy measures the amount of air flowing into your engine. If your MAF sensor is dirty, it can send incorrect readings to the computer, causing a rough idle. Cleaning your MAF sensor is a piece of cake. Disconnect the electrical connector and remove the sensor from the air intake tube. Spray the cleaner onto the sensor's delicate wires and let it dry completely before reinstalling it. Next on our list is checking for vacuum leaks. A vacuum leak is any place where air can sneak into the engine without going through the MAF sensor. This throws off the air-fuel ratio and can cause rough idling and stalling. Start by visually inspecting all the vacuum hoses under the hood. Look for any cracks, splits, or loose connections. If you find a damaged hose, simply replace it with a new one. If you're still dealing with a rough idle, it's time to take a look at the throttle body and idle control valve. The throttle body controls the amount of air that enters the engine, while the idle control valve helps regulate the engine speed when you're idling. Over time, these components can get gunked up with carbon deposits, causing rough idling and stalling. Use a throttle body cleaner and a clean rag to carefully clean the throttle body and the idle control valve. If your car has an electronic throttle body, be extra careful not to damage the sensitive electronics. If your BMW is still acting up, it's time to break out the big guns and OBD2 scanner. This handy tool plugs into your car's diagnostic port and allows you to read and clear trouble codes. These codes can give you valuable clues about what's causing your rough idle. Once you've got your scanner hooked up, turn on the ignition but don't start the engine. Select read codes on the scanner and it will display any stored trouble codes. Last but not least, let's talk about timing. Your engine's timing refers to the precise timing of the spark plugs firing and the valves opening and closing. If your timing is off, it can cause rough idling, loss of power, and even engine damage. Checking and adjusting your timing is a bit more advanced than some of the other repairs we've covered. If you're not comfortable working on your engine, it's best to leave this one to the pros. So there you have it guys, 8 of the most common reasons your BMW might be suffering from a rough idle, and how to fix them yourself. Regular oil changes, air filter replacements, and spark plug checks can help keep your Bimmer running smooth for years to come. Even if you have to call in a pro for some of the tougher jobs, at least you'll have a better understanding of what's going on under the hood. If you've gone through these steps, and your car is still misfiring or stalling, it might be time to take it to a professional. But with these tips, you're on the right track to solving the problem yourself.